Good morning. Welcome to the Clutter and Coffin Classroom. You'll see it's a beautiful day here. Today, before we start our letter book, we're going to talk a little bit about the Earth. It is Thursday, April 30th, 2020. And you may have celebrated Earth Day last week. It was April 22nd. It was its 50th anniversary. And Earth Day was started in an effort to make us think more about how we affect the environment that we live in and how we can do things to take better care of it so that we have clean air and clean water and clean land. There are three things that damage our environment. First is air pollution, land pollution, and water pollution. So those are three ways that we damage the earth. So let's talk a little bit about air pollution. So some things that contribute to bad air would be any kind of thing that produces smoke or exhaust. So our cars are big polluters. They create a lot of exhaust and creates carbon monoxide in the environment, and we call that air pollution. If you see a big factory and there's smog and smoke coming out of the top of it, that creates pollution. So warm air is lighter than cold air. Cold air is really, really heavy. So the sun shines its rays down on the earth and warms our earth. So the air closer to the ground is nice and warm. So this air sitting down here is warm. If this air becomes polluted and has smog and exhaust in it, we'll put some black in to represent our smog and our dirty air. If we produce exhaust and it's dirty, it's in the warmer part of the air sitting close to our ground. This cold air up here is heavier and it traps the dirty air near our earth. And if that happens, that means that you and I are breathing really dirty air. And not only are we breathing it, animals are breathing it. And it's really dangerous. So we don't want to trap those pollutants near the ground, but we really don't want to produce them in the first place. So some ways that we can eliminate pollution in the air is people that smoke. When we smoke, we produce air pollution. When we drive our cars a lot, we produce air pollution. So the more we can ride our bikes or walk, we're reducing the stress on the environment and eliminating some of the air pollution. So you might think about ways in which you can reduce air pollution. Air contaminants cause our eyes to be irritated, so they make our eyes irritated. It can make us feel really tired. It can cause headaches. It can even cause some people to feel sick to their stomach. And it can definitely cause trouble breathing. If you're somebody that has asthma, air pollution is really hard on you. So that's a little bit about air pollution. Another big contaminant of air are airplanes. They produce a lot of air pollution. So if you can travel by some other means other than flying, that helps the air as well. All right, now we're going to move on and talk a little bit about our land and how we pollute the land. The biggest cause of land pollution is this stuff. Anybody know what this is? It's basically trash. And if I were to throw this trash out of my window of my car, I would be littering. But even when we put trash in a trash can and wrap it up in a bag, we send it to a landfill and it's sitting there polluting our land anyway. So you'll notice this is made out of aluminum. It's recyclable. So we could recycle this, and that means that it could be reused to make another material, and it wouldn't be put in our land and pollute our land. Same with the juice bottle. This is heavy plastic, and it could be recycled. So you need to think about how to eliminate the amount of trash we're producing so that we don't litter and pollute our land. We want to keep it nice and clean. So think about ways that you could keep the land clean, especially for us and for animals that live in the environment. All right, the third thing we're going to talk about is water pollution. So big contaminant of water pollution are chemicals. Also, farming produces a lot of pollution. If you use pesticides to keep bugs from eating plants, those pesticides can go into our water, and even the water we're drinking can still have a little bit of that contaminant in it. And think about the animals that live in the water. We have fish, we eat fish, and they need to have a healthy environment. And if we're eating, if that is one of the products that we eat, we want it to be healthy for our bodies as well. So the other big contaminant of water is the same thing as land, litter, plastics especially. And when we throw plastics into the ocean, it endangers the animals there, but it also creates these floating islands of nothing but trash. So again, recycling is important to protect water. The other thing we need to do with water is limit the amount we use, because our water is becoming limited. Clean drinking water is limited. So instead of getting in the shower and just standing there and taking our time, we want to take a quick shower and get out. If we're brushing our teeth, one thing you can do is turn off the water while you're brushing and turn it back on only to rinse. So think about how you can lower your water consumption. Don't use as much water. But those are things we need to think about. We need to think about air, land, and water, and think about how we can take care of them. Right now, a lot of us are staying at home, and you may look out and the sky is clearer than it's ever been. There are places where they've had smog their whole life, and now all of a sudden the skies are clear. So when we start getting back in our cars and driving and going places, we need to remember this time and how important it is to take care of our earth and keep our air clean, our land clean, and our water clean, especially for you all and when you get older, so that you'll have a nice, beautiful environment to live in and that your children will have a nice environment to grow up in. One of the reasons that we talked about our environment today is our Letterbook story talks about that and talks about recycling. So you'll need to watch this video before you read our story today. So after you listen to this video, go straight to the story, and I'll be reading the story. Have a great morning.